Warning, this episode contains adult language, mature situations, an imposter princess, a second prince who is more than what he seems, political marriages, scheming relatives, and manga news. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. Listener and viewer discretion is advised. Spiraken Manga Review, episode 552. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Spiraken Manga Review. I'm your host Zan, saying konnichiwa, aloha, buongiorno, and what's up? Hope you're doing good. Hope you're excited for another fun-filled episode of this awesome podcast you can find at www.spiraken.com. We're also on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Spotify, YouTube, and various other social media sites. And if you are watching on YouTube or checking us out on our Spiraken website, remember to like, share, subscribe, click on that bell for notification. And with that in mind, let's actually get to the review of the episode. Because if you remember from that last episode, I spun that one that only the Wheel of Manga and it dictated on to be there reviewing a manga that was written by Rikichi and published by Kodansha and was released over here by Kodansha Comics. It was originally released in B Love magazine back in 2019. It is still coming out to this day. There are 13 volumes right now. It is not complete. There is an anime coming out relatively soon. I believe it's coming out fall of this year. It is a fantasy. It is a josei series, and its original title was Hoshifuru Ōkoku no Nina, but in English it is known simply as Nina The Starry Bride. And this is the story of Nina, a young girl who has had a very interesting fate in store for her, and the entire series takes place in medias res. Because when we first meet Nina, she is being led off to prison for something that she did, and she tells everyone that this is the second time that she has been sentenced to death by a specific individual. And this individual is a young man in an outfit with gold eyes. And then we zoom back to the past. And in the past, Nina was a young girl who was in the land of Fortuna in the castle town of Dea. She lived there with her best friends, and she worked out a life as a common thief. She was a little kid who did not have a lot of money. Things were not going so great for them. However, they did live a life and they did enjoy it, and things were going well until one day, the younger brother of the two people she was hanging out with got really sick. This young boy, Colin, was really sick and dying, and the older brother was very depressed at the situation. Meanwhile, Nina was trying to be like, let's bolster our spirits. Let's be happy. We can push through this. And the older brother was like, you're stupid. You don't understand. You're not real family anyway, even though these three orphans have been living together for years, splitting money and doing all this. And unfortunately, things did not go the way that we hoped for them to go, and it is actually ended pretty sad for the young boy Colin, and his brother was not well taken care of. Meanwhile, the princess of the country, Princess Alicia, was being brought back to the kingdom for a specific reason, which we'll get to in a moment, but unfortunately, due to some horrible weather, her carriage fell off a ravine and crashed. She is dead. And unfortunately, they are going to need to get a duplicate in order to pass off as Alicia for a political marriage that's happening soon. Fortunately, Alicia has been in a nunnery called the Astral Temple for the last 10 years, so no one has seen her. The only thing which is really relevant about her that people remember is that she has these mysteriously lovely blue eyes, the starry eyes. And the only other person who has these eyes is Nina, but we don't know this yet. So what happens is that the older brother pretty much tells Nina that he forgives her and that things are going to be a lot better now. He's going to take care of her and follow him. So Nina, because she trusts this kid who she's known for years, follows him. And it turns out he has decided to get some money for her by selling her to a bunch of slavers, which really isn't good because she's been dressing as a boy, has had her hair covered so that no one could take her, and she's terrified of this. But she's sold to a bunch of slavers who turns out are not actually slavers. They work for the kingdom. They're actually really important, and they need to find a duplicate to pretend to be the princess who is dead. So they say, okay, this boy kind of looks like the princess, so we'll just have him dress in drag and it'll be fine. Until they realize that, nope, she actually is a girl with beautiful eyes. So we're going to pass you off as the princess, and today you're going to die, and then you're going to come back as Princess Alicia. And that's what we're going to do. So she's been given the option to live a full life. As long as she can pull off this con, she won't die or anything bad will happen to her. She's just got to pretend to be the princess, even though she can't read, she can't write, she's pretty much illiterate, and she is a pretty unpolished diamond. But that's what she does. She tries her best to be an amazing Princess Alicia, makes some faux pas. She has some ladies in waiting who know what's going on and are trying to help her navigate the situation, and then she actually finds out who the person who sold her into pretty much this role was. The person who said, "You are now dead, you're going to be the princess," is actually Prince Azor. He is the second prince of Fortura, and he is not in line for the throne. He's the older brother. Turns out that his actual younger brother, who is his father and his stepmother's child, is the heir for the line of the throne. His job is he is supposed to be the advisor to the king, and he is pretty much making sure this is well. Meanwhile, Prince Alicia is going to be married to the kingdom of Galgada, where this is to ensure that Galgada doesn't invade Fortura. So it's kind of a political situation that's going on. And this is where it begins. Our story begins of her having to navigate through the politics. Meanwhile, the fact is that Azura is the only one that really knows who she is besides her two ladies in waiting. And he treats her as she should be treated because he knows she's not really the princess. But he's like, "You are the princess. You're Princess Azura. Don't tell anybody." But he's really a nice person. And this leads to them kind of falling in love. Even though it's a very hard situation where the fact that she is engaged to be married to someone in order to make sure that the country is not invaded. And his future is pretty set in stone in a not great way. But things evolve, things change, and that's what this story is about. It changes over time. And eventually, Nina and Azor end up kind of falling in love. But what happens when, in order to save Azor, she ends up going to Galdoa and we're introduced to another individual, a different prince, one who is more cold-hearted but just as handsome? Who knows? Who knows? That is the question, and that is what this story is about. It is a romance dealing with someone who has been put in a very difficult situation and how she fixes it. The artwork is truly unique for a josei series. The way that they draw Nina is spectacular with her eyes being done. And this is not set in Japan. It's not set in Europe. It's set somewhere else. Feels very Romanesque, but a little bit of Turkey's involved as well. I like the designs of the different kingdoms, the castles, how there are differences. When we get into Galgarda, it's a very different situation going on. And also when we get into the whole thing with the prince and his siblings and that whole mess, it is a different kingdom. It feels completely different. And like I said, we have Nina trying to pull off the fact that she is the princess when we know she's not the princess and she has to fake it completely. There are people who believe that she is a fake or they know she's a fake and they're trying to prove it so that they can kill her. You also have the actual heir to the throne, Mohalam, who is an 8-year-old who is compared to his big brother because his big brother is amazing, he's smart, he's a great fighter, and Mohalam is a little kid. The only person who's nice to him, actually, is his newly reacquainted sister, who's really not his sister, but she is, and you have that dynamic as well going. The art style is great, the plot is truly well developed, and more importantly than that, it is an exceptional story about love, destiny, and trying to pull off a super big con. And I gotta say, it is one which I recommend highly. So for that reason, as you could probably guess, once again, I am giving this our second highest rating of Borrow from a Friend and Don't Return Unless Offered Pocky. This is an exceptional story that is truly captivating and will draw you in. The only problem is that if you are not a fan of harem hijinks or multiple romances or politics, you will not like this series. It really starts to pick up pace by volume 3, but like I said, the first 2 volumes are literally her just trying to set the con up and them making it work. And it does drag a little bit, but it is an exceptional series and I highly do recommend it. So if you've read this or checked this out, let me know what you thought. Email me, zan@spiraken.com, or tweet me at Spiraken. Let me know if you thought it's a great series or if you thought it's garbage. Let me know. And before I forget, let's actually get to the manga question of the week. We got a pretty good one this week. It is going to be one which has to deal specifically with this story and what your thoughts are about it, especially because most of us don't know what's going on with it. And it is simply, what do you think is going to happen next? Where do you think the story is going to go? Where would you go? Because she right now has 2 princes by the end of volume 2 who are vying for her attention. Which one would you want her to be with? The first prince who essentially kidnapped her, or the second prince who is, well, let's just say he's a little abusive. It feels very Colleen Hoover-esque. If you like Colleen Hoover, you're going to love this series. But let me know. Email me at zan@spiraken.com. And with that in mind, let's actually get to the manga releases for the week. We've got some really good ones this week. Let's go. So for this week, the manga releases for the week are going to be Akane Banashi Volume 5, which, well, it's Akane Banashi. Then we have Case Closed Volume 90, Chronicles of an Aristocrat Reborn in Another World Volume 9, The Condemned Villainess Goes Back in Time and Aims to Become the Ultimate Villain Volume 1, Crossplay Love Otaku Punk Volume 8, Demons of the Shadow Realm Volume 4, Dan Da Dan Volume 7, Demon Slayer Kimetsu Academy Volume 2, The Disabled Tyrant's Beloved Pet Fish Kanji Bojun de Jiangxi Yu Zhong, the novel Volume 1, The Dungeon of Black Company Volume 10, The Fable Omnibus 1 Volumes 1 and 2, and just to let you know, the anime came out, this is really cool, but I did not realize there was a live-action version that had been released 6 months ago on Netflix. I did not realize that, and I'm kind of shocked. It's pretty cool, though. Then we had Fairy Tail 100 Year Quest 15, Hellsing Volume 6 2nd Edition, I Married My Female Friend Volume 2, I'm in Love with the Villainess, She's So Cheeky for a Commoner Light Novel Volume 2, The Ice Guy and the Cool Girl Volume 4, Immortal Hounds Volume 7, Kakuryou Bed and Breakfast for Spirits Volume 9, Komi Can't Communicate Volume 29, Life with an Ordinary Guy Who Reincarnated into a Total Fantasy Knockout Volume 3, Magica Swordsman and Summoner Volume 17, Marmalade Boy Collector's Edition 5, My Girlfriend's Child Volume 4, My Isekai Life Volume 12, Past the Monster Meet Milady Volume 3, Pokemon Sword and Shield Volume 9, Shikimori's Not Just a Cutie Volume 16, Sketchy Volume 1, Splatoon 3 Splatlands Volume 1, Time Stop Hero Volume 9, and last and certainly not least, we have We Started a Threesome Volume 2. So these are the manga releases for the week. Which are the ones are you most excited about, or which are the ones you think are the least exciting? Let me know. Email me, zan@spiraken.com. And for me personally, my top 5 for the week are going to be Dan Da Dan Volume 7. It's a great series, and I can't wait to see if our main protagonists are able to find the missing balls, if you know what I mean. The Fable Omnibus 1 looks really good, and also, like I said, it's a Yakuza story, so that's always fun. The Ice Guy and the Cool Girl Volume 4. This is a fun little slice-of-life romance involving 2 people who work in an office, and one is the child of a Yuka Oni, which is pretty cool. Then we have Komi Can't Communicate Volume 29. This series has been going on for 29 volumes, and I love Komi and the story and how the characters all work out. And this is a great rom-com that still is delivering even after 29 manga, so I can't wait to see where it goes next. And last but not least, Sketchy Volume 1, which is a sketchbook of a specific mangaka. This one is one where, yeah, I definitely going to pick this up. So let me know the ones that you're most excited about. Email me at zan@spiraken.com or tweet me at Spiraken. And with that in mind, thank you so much for checking out this podcast. I appreciate each and every one of you. Every email I get, every comment I get gives me more motivation to keep doing this podcast. So thank you so much. I'm going to keep doing this as long as I can. And remember, if you would love to support the podcast, subscribe on Spiraken.com, subscribe on iTunes or Apple Podcasts or Spotify, and subscribe at YouTube.com. Remember to like, share, subscribe, click on that bell for notification. And with that in mind, let's get to the part that you have all been waiting for. And what am I talking about? I am talking about that one, that only, the Wheel of Manga! Yes, friends, Wheel of Manga, accept no substitute. Now, what is the Wheel of Manga? The Wheel of Manga is a Wheel of Fortune with 10 slots on it. What I've done is I've assigned a manga title to each of the 10 slots. So what we're going to do is spin the wheel, whatever number it lands on, that's what we're going to review in the next episode of the Spiraken Manga Review, episode 553. We've got tons of titles on here, and as I stated last episode, every time I'm spinning now, I'm just moving it over by 1. So we started at 3 last time, we're going to start at 4 this time. So every single time we're going to do this, we're going to keep going. That way, hopefully, we'll get something random instead of just 10 and 5. But we're going to see. Let's spin and see what we're going to be, shall we? Or we're definitely going to get something else. We're going to get like a 7 or a 3. Come on. And it lands on 5 again. Of course, it lands on 5 again. But we have Go with the Clouds and Bye. This is a series which I've only seen the cover. It looks kind of fascinating, but we'll see how it goes. But anyway, hope you enjoy this episode. As usual, I am your host, Zan. I am Gonzville. Catch you guys next time. And keep reading manga. I will see you later.